me if I know we were recording.
Yeah, well, it's okay. We are recording, but we are getting started here. So I'm so glad that you're here. And again, just want to share some tips and not that I'm not the one talking the whole time. I want you to participate if you want to speak up or even just put something in the chat as I ask you to. Again,
Mhm.
just here to talk about how we can thrive through the holidays and not just get along, but how we can really thrive and make it um, a great holiday season. You guys know who I am, Moira Gorski, and but I'll just introduce myself a little bit here. As a retired nurse and a wellness advocate, for 25 years, I've been helping other people um, live a healthier life, and really, I've come to know and share and believe that it's all about healthy habits, and it's really about paying attention to what we put in ourselves, on ourselves, around ourselves. And it's really important all year round, but this time of year, especially with these holidays, there's just so many more demands on us. And so it's just so important um, to pay extra attention to ourselves and our habits. And because the holidays can seem pretty overwhelming, but it's also a perfect time to pause a little bit, to give thanks, to reflect, and just maybe do a little extra self care if you can fit that in to just help us align with what truly matters. So you can put in the chat, you can speak up. What does this season mean to you as we're heading into this busy holiday season?
Well, holidays for me, it always means family. It's always been in my growing up in my family. Everybody would come to my house with my mother who cooked for everybody. And so I would see my cousins, my aunts, my uncles. Of course, that's pretty much in the past these days, but now with my own children and their families, it means a time of getting together and reconnecting also with some people that maybe I haven't seen for a little while.
Right. Yeah,
I
absolutely.
love that. I love that, Georgia. That's me too. It was always about family. I moved away from my family after college. I got married right away and I moved 550 miles away. And so
Mhm.
it was hard. We would go home for the first 8 years that we didn't have kids. We would go home for Christmas. So that was not hard. But once those
Yeah.
kids came around, we had 5 kids in the next 8 years. And my attendance at my mom and dad's house for Christmas was gone.
Oh,
It was
oh,
just easier to stay home. So,
yes.
but we try to recreate that now. Our kids are 21 to 29,
Mhm.
and now they're starting to scatter around the country, so I can't be mad.
We teach our children to be independent and to grow up and be self-actualizing human beings, and then they grow up and they move away from us. I don't know,
That's
maybe we're on the wrong path.
right. I know. And then I mean, I'm the same way. I love to have all of the family together, but I've realized that it's just not really going to happen that often. And so we can
Mm.
just appreciate whoever can be around. And sometimes it's a Zoom call with somebody, and sometimes it's a couple of days that they can come and visit. And it's not always like everybody together around the table at the same time. So we just have to kind of accept that. But yeah, it's all about family and, like you said, reconnecting sometimes with people you haven't seen since last year.
And I
uh,
think you have to be a little flexible as well.
that's right.
Um, I had three of my four sons at my house for Thanksgiving, but then the next day, the other son who had been with his in laws came over. So that was fine. I still got to see them even if they weren't here on Thanksgiving itself.
Yep. The flexibility is key too.
Yes, yes.
And I love this slide. This really talks about my why of, in the wellness business and supporting others, and basically kind of my life as a mom.
Mhm.
Over well, I guess almost 30 years ago, I became a mom and became a stay-at-home mom. We decided that I would stay at home and went on to have 4 children and got involved in the community and other moms with kids. And my oldest son, who's in that farthest picture up there to the left on my lap, just really struggled to be a healthy kid. And Pam, who's here tonight, is somebody that I met in the community and at the health club, and she started to share with me some things she knew about health and about alternative medicine, if you will, and just challenged me to think about those things, like I mentioned in the beginning, what I was putting in my mouth, what we were cleaning our house with, what we had around us, and some natural approaches. And I dove into learning and trying new things, and it worked. And I went on to, just live that healthier lifestyle and built a business by reaching out to other moms like me, to help to teach them how they could create a healthy family and healthy life too, and learn how they could thrive. And so I built a tremendous, wonderful business that I love, mentoring people, and helping people again thrive and create those healthy habits. I've been able to kind of travel the world, as they would say. In the midst, I've walked my daughter through 9 years of a fairly life-threatening eating disorder, and started a podcast so I could share my experience with that and how I was able to kind of reclaim my health through all of that stress. I learned about journaling. I learned about strength training. I learned about community. I learned about being together with other women and mentoring them. And I created a journal, and really learned to find the joy in the chaos of life, because there's always going to be those ups and downs. And this last week has been a doozy, as I mentioned in the beginning. I not only over a week ago, I tripped off my back step when I was going out to the garage for the very third time because I couldn't make up my mind about what I was going to eat for dinner. I stepped a little too far, and I stepped kind of right on top of my toes, and I broke my foot, broke a couple of bones top of my foot. We discovered a couple of days ago a major plumbing issue in our house. And so I've been dealing with that for the last few days. And even just this afternoon, as I was leaving the health club, taking a shower because I couldn't do it at home, driving to see my father to do my laundry and my car started smoking. So my
Oh, no.
is now in the auto body shop, and we'll figure that out. In the meantime, though, I went and met Pam at a place in Wheaton and celebrated 25 years of being in business together and being able to help other
Yeah.
people. And it's our annual give back event where we're able to give back to our clients. So again, in amongst the chaos, there's always joy. I wiped my tears, I redid my makeup and changed my shoes and went out to celebrate with the people that I've been able to help. So again, I always like to put my story in there. So there's, for those that don't know me or know all of that, it just shows some perspective. Some people say, wow, you got such a great life and everything's always great. Well, everything's not always great,
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
but it's always a journey, and it's always, it always can be joyful if you're choosing to.
Moira, I just want to jump in here and applaud you because what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, And
Yeah.
I always say, Georgia, that women are like tea bags. The longer you keep them in hot water, the stronger they become. So, I mean,
Yes.
Moira continues to thrive in her life, and despite all the changes and all the things that come her way, and she's been very successful in her business, even just the last month. And I'm like looking at that, thinking, wow, like she just is on go, and no matter what, she just keeps swimming. So
She's a dynamo.
really happy to be your friend, and it's so great. Yeah, we learn from each other.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
And,
what friends do.
yeah. And, again, we just don't want to just get through things. We want to really learn how to thrive. And again, I believe that God, the universe, whatever you choose to believe in, is telling me that it's time for me to pause and reflect a bit. So
Ah,
the brakes have been put on a little bit. And so, that's what I'm doing. And I want to share a few things that have helped me along the way that might be, again, helpful for you, or might give you some ideas of things that you can do. We come to the end of the year, and oftentimes, we look at making resolutions for the next year. Or I remember a couple of years ago when I was working with a coach of mine, I hadn't reached some of those goals that I put out there, and I was really feeling kind of down on myself. And she recommended that I do this kind of like year in review exercise and go through month by month, each month, and look at the successes and the failures of the month, the things that were good, the things that weren't good, the goals that you set, the things that you didn't, and just go through month by month. And I'm telling you, it really helped me put it into perspective because it happened to be the year that I did create a journal, but my mother also was very ill and then subsequently did pass. And there were lots of things that I kind of had forgotten about here at the end of December when I was woe is me and I didn't earn the trip or I didn't do this. She said, take a look at everything that you did accomplish, but also the things along the way, because there are those ups and downs. And it's been really something that I do every year from then on, at the end of the year to just look at really pull out my planner, pull out my calendar and look at those things that happened every month. Because there can be really, it's just a good time to take a look at that and realize that it's not always that, we're not always going to be at the top. There's going to be things that, I realized that year, perhaps I didn't earn the trip because there were some inconsistencies because I had all these other things going on. But I also had a lot of things to celebrate too, because life wasn't for me all about earning the trip. And I was putting so much weight on, oh, I want to earn this trip with my business. There were some other great successes too. So that's the year in review exercise that a good friend and coach, helped me with. And then also, I mentioned journaling. So I wonder if you guys journal at all. Journaling is, do you guys journal?
No, I've dabbled, but I can't say that I've done it with any consistency.
I'm the same. I used to be afraid to write anything down from childhood trauma of my brother reading my diary. So I feel like if I ever write it down, someone's going to read it who I don't want to read it. So I'm never going to be honest. So I have to write it and then burn it or write it and tear it up. And I don't know. So I haven't done it. It's therapeutic. I like the pen to paper thing. That's really good for me.
Right.
When I do it, I benefit from it, but I like you said, George, I can't seem to be making it a habit, or shall I say, I haven't yet.
Yeah,
Okay.
right. Yeah. Well, and I think that I remember when I first started journaling or somebody recommended it to me, I'm like, my penmanship has really gone downhill over the years. And so, I can't read my writing sometimes, or I can, but most people can't. And I realized that it really didn't matter because hopefully nobody was reading my journals. And I was like, I'm not going to write a book. And like, it's really the importance of taking pen to paper and getting your thoughts out. And, these are some things that you can think about if you just want to, do some journaling or do some writing down, or if you have a spare moment, think about the things that bring you joy, some of your values and things like that. We'll talk a little bit more about journaling as time goes on, too, in this presentation. But they always say that, I don't know if you've heard the phrase, if we fail to plan, then we plan to fail, right? So again, there's lots of things that are going on around the holidays. And I think planning is really of utmost importance. It can really help us feel like we're kind of on top of things as opposed to just, flying by the seat of our pants. And so planning can be, again, a day-to-day thing. It can be we plan our meals, we plan our workouts, we plan when are we going to go shopping, when are we going to have quiet time, when are we, going to take a nap, or when are we going to read that book. But it's really important. I've learned, and I really try to share that with other women, working professionals, moms, whoever you are. It's really important to plan your things first in your calendar. If it's okay, I'm going to work out, or I'm going to do this in the morning, or I want to go to this house walk tomorrow. And so I'm going to plan that in my week and not plan anything else around it. So really making sure that we make a plan. And again, when we do this month, when we have shopping and we have, gifts to get and holiday parties to go to, again, I think it's really about most importance to think about planning better. And then also taking a look at sitting down and thinking about maybe the next quarter. Some people like to plan on a quarterly basis, the 12-week year, or whatever that book is, kind of thing. But planning certainly is important. And I really just, again, as I said before, it's so important for us women to make sure that we're connecting with ourselves first. We can't really give from an empty cup. So I like to say when we're doing things for ourselves, we're really connecting, with ourselves. So do you gals have a morning routine of some kind besides having a cup of coffee? Or maybe that's your morning routine is a cup of coffee.
Well, I have a cup of tea rather than coffee. I go back and forth, and I'm in my tea mode at this time.
Mhm.
And I'll have my breakfast and I have my cup of tea. Then I like to sit where I am right now, and my faithful dog is sitting here right next to me. He comes up and sits with me, and I watch the news for 15 or 20 minutes just to sort of ease into the day. And then I get up, get ready to go to work. But I like that, having that 15 or 20 minutes just chilling out, if you will,
Yeah.
and preparing for the onslaught of the day.
That's right. Yep, that's right.
Yes, I have a love for tea as well, Georgia. I'm not a coffee drinker at all, but I try to not have my tea right away. I try to wait a little bit. I'm a slow waker upper, so I need to,
Oh,
you know, um, kind of get myself into the mood. But I do get up and get my workout clothes on right away, because if I don't get them on, then I don't go, including my shoes. Because I used
mm,
to think if I put my slippers on, I have my workout clothes on. It's what's different than pajamas and that,
yeah.
So I put my
Uh-huh.
shoes on and start my car, and it's cold, and then I get out there. But I do a little quiet time in the morning, a little reading. I have a couple little devotional things that I read, the daily reading each day, and have some water and start getting my head going on. A little gratitude in the morning, always. Um, but then I get to go work out a few days a week, and then get my day going. So I think it's important. I sit in the same chair like you do. I mean, those habits are really important, I think, and that tea or that chair or the dog or the whatever really helps us stay anchored. And then that's what we do, and we can stack other habits on top of that, as we've learned.
Yep.
Mhm.
And that's really helpful. And you can, always add on to what you're already doing to expand your habits better. So yeah, I love that. Starting the day right. I think if you
Yeah.
connect with yourself, like you say, Moira, then I feel like as women, if we have to take care of ourselves first, and then we can give to other people. Because otherwise, if I start getting up, when I used to pack lunches for my kids and stuff, I hated that. And I would start my day when I opened packing their lunches. And I started in a crabby mood, and I often didn't get to myself,
Mm.
because I just got on to giving and giving. And then I was resentful during the day because I didn't fill my own cup up, like you said earlier. And that's so important. So thanks for bringing that up tonight, Moira, because it is important.
Yeah. Yeah. If we start giving to others, even if it's opening an email or a text or things like that, we're giving to others before we really fill ourselves up. So, I had my favorite chair at my old house, that I would sit in the front room, and there was a stack of books and candles and pens and journals and things like that. And I ended up giving that chair away. And so,
Wow.
but I found there's a new chair here at the new house, and that's where I sit most mornings. And again, there's a journal there. I always put some gratitudes down there. And within my morning routine, there's tea, there's candle, there's my dog. Usually Ruby's up with me, and just kind of picking a book that speaks to me that I want to read, if it's a devotional or a couple of chapters and something like that. And it does really fill our cup. And so it's that time, but it's also getting out and moving, working out with weights. I mean, women over 45 should be, and I know we've sailed past that area, all of us
Just
here,
barely.
just a little bit, but just doing
Just a
strength training
little.
to help build our muscle mass, prevent osteoporosis. I realized through my fracture that my x-ray said that I have a little osteopenia. So I'm
Yeah.
going to keep consistent with that weight training and my supplementation, but also really making sure that we schedule within our days just time to have fun and laugh. And even if it's having fun and going walking that dog, it's really good to just make sure we have those things that we're doing to connect with ourselves.
Well, it's not that dissimilar from being on an airplane when the pilot says there's some issue, Put on your oxygen mask first, take care of yourself first, then you can take care of those around you.
That's right. I mean, it's so true.
Mhm.
Yep. So how are we going to maintain a wellness routine too? So, wellness habits really all year round, but certainly again, during this time, it's going to help us stay grounded during the holidays. So for our physical health, again, we can aim at getting some daily movement, even if it's just a walk or bundling up with hat and gloves and boots, making sure you get out there, focusing on some balanced nutrition, especially when there's holiday treats all over the place. And that, our mental wellness is about those mindfulness practices like meditation, journaling, yoga. It really can help to reduce the stress. And even just simple breathing exercises can be a powerful tool for calming yourself down when the water's flowing out of your drain in the basement and all of those things. And there's even, supplements that you can take a look at taking, or even just food choices like things that are rich in omega-3, flaxseed, great for brain health, having good probiotics to help support your gut, and just again making those choices to nurture your body, your mind, and your spirit during this time. I know we're all fans of the Shaklee products, so I just put some of my go-to items here. That again, for me, it's about when I'm busy, and really just it has become a habit. I just like to have things that I know, that I trust, that when I'm going out the door, that I can grab and I know that it's a good thing. Because I find that when I get so busy and I get off track and I'm just like, I just grab, or I mindlessly eat different things. And so I know when I establish a habit or a routine, or having the meal bars or the shakes or things like that around, the tea that I love, that I tend to stay, that it's easy to go to, easy to grab, and things like that. Even I think Pam taught me this when I was putting this together. I think Pam used to tell me about this. Just even before you go to a holiday party, make sure you're not going like super hungry. And I think about like eating like a snack bar, or like doing a half of a serving of a shake, like just to get some protein in you to satiate yourself, so that when you get to the holiday party, you can say hello and visit with people, and you're not like super hungry, and you tend to then not,
Right.
overeat.
Yeah, you don't want to go to a party starving because you'll just
Yeah.
crash on that buffet and have some drinks and it's over. It's
Right.
over.
Just like
I
going to
learned that when they said a serving of cheese is the equivalent of 4 dice. Four. Think about how much cheese I ate the last time I was at a party. That's a
Oh,
serving
yeah.
of cheese. So every holiday I try to remind people that one serving of cheese is 4 dice.
yeah, yeah,
Ooh.
yeah. But even, if you're not, you can take your tea with you. If you, again, I love the Shaklee tea, the hydrate sticks. We have so many sticks that we can grab and take. If you just don't, if you don't, like, I don't drink so much alcohol anymore. So, but sometimes I like to have something in my water. So I can take a hydrate stick, or I can take a tea or something like that with me to where I'm going. And again, trustworthy products that are good, that are going to make you feel good. And even if you're indulging in some good things, you can start your day at least with a nice shake. Have your favorite tea, have your supplements there, your building blocks, so that you're not going to perhaps, get sick and things like that during the holidays. And again, gratitude couldn't be more important at this for me, especially like right now. I reached out to a friend when the car, besides I reached out to Pam, but I reached out to another friend who had sent me a text right around the time that I was getting out of my car and going into the dealership so I could stay warm while I was waiting for my car to be picked up. And he's like, just switch your energy, be grateful. Like, it's really hard, but it's so, so important. I mean, I said to my daughter when she picked me up, I said, you know what, the guy that towed my car, he was really nice looking. So I said I was grateful for that. He was super nice. He wasn't some just, gearhead that was, so I was trying to put some light in the situation. And it certainly helped me, just being grateful for that. But I mean, there's a lot of research too. There's a psychologist, Robert Emmons. He's one of the leading experts on gratitude. Shows that regular gratitude practice can increase our happiness. It can reduce depression. Gratitude trains our brain to focus on the positive things, and it kind of rewires our thoughts for greater joy and resilience. It also, having those moments of gratitude can lower your cortisol levels, which is that stress hormone that helps us manage our stress, anxiety much more effectively. What do you guys think about gratitude, or how do you practice gratitude?
Well, it's not a big reach or difficult to realize the many gifts, the many advantages that I have, even though I might whine on various occasions because things aren't quite like I want them to be. But it's easy for me to remember all of the gifts that I have and the family that I have that is very supportive, being able to live near one of my kids and be comfortable. So it's not that big a stretch. I do whine from time to time, but it brings me back to the center, and I realize that I really do have a lot, and I should be grateful for what I have, and I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. An attitude of gratitude is what my mom always used to say. And I start in the morning and thanking God for the day and asking what wonderful things does he have in store for me today so that I stay open. I say, "Good morning, Lord. Thank you for this day. What wonderful things do you have in store for me today?" And I just got in the habit of that. And so that I'm looking and my antennas up for goodness. And, the power of the word thank you to me, for me to hear that, I love that. That's the two words that somebody can say to me, and I'm just like putty in their hand. All they have to do is say thank you. It's been that forever, and they are paid in full for whatever I did for them. They just have to say thank you. That's it. So I try to do that back. My husband and I have been working on that a little bit more instead of having another comment or another sentence. Can you just say thank you for that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sometimes less is more, but it's important to be grateful because I think, a lot of people, we live in America. We live in the best country in the whole world,
Right.
Sometimes you don't think so. But I mean, we have so much to be grateful for, like you said, Georgia. So things are hard. But the other night I dropped a glass canister lid on my tile floor. Of course, it smashed all over. And my husband knew what Moira was going through, and he said, "Well, at least you didn't break your foot and have water flowing into your basement." Sorry, Moira. But I mean, he said that to me, and I said, "Thank you." That's all I said.
That was
Right.
enough.
And he helped me sweep up the glass, but there was no shaming, there was no complaining, there was no like, why do you carry so many things in your arms? I mean, think about all the things how that could have gone down.
Right.
And it was just
Absolutely.
nice that it was nice. So we have to be grateful. See the
Yeah.
good.
And I love that. It
Agreed.
can be just, man, this tea, so thankful for this tea. It feels so good inside me on this cold morning, or just, I tend to, when I write in my journal in the morning, I'm always, because security feels so good to me. Like I love that I have a beautiful home, even though, we have some plumbing issues and the guy did it the wrong way or whatever, but I'm always thankful for my home. Again, so it can be little things. It can be, that dog sitting next to you, or it can be just, hey, I'm grateful for reconnecting with that loved one or whatever. And I love that, having those things like what's in store for me today? Who can I help today? What's something that made me smile today? You can journal in the morning, or be grateful in the morning, grateful at night. What challenges have taught me? What have my challenges taught me today? Those kind of things. That's what I've been thinking about. And even that thank you. I mean, saying thank you to somebody, sending them a quick text. Hey, I was thinking about you, and really thanks for talking to me yesterday. That was really helpful. It can really make a difference in the way you feel, but also the other, how the other people feel.
For sure. Mm-hmm.
And how about we just be grateful, first of all, like my VA put together this presentation. It's pretty awesome. I wish she was on it. It was, she's done a great job with this. So I'm not the tech person, she is, but she did a great job. So
I was giving you all the credit.
yeah, well, Well, I created the content and then I gave it to her and I said, you do it, you beauty it up. And she did a great job. So, um, the holiday seasons, again, got lots of demands, work demands, holiday parties, family commitments, and lots more. And
Laura, when you delegate that to her, though, that's really a gift that you have, and it's okay to say this isn't where I should spend my time. And by you having Haley do that for you, you not only employ her, but you give her the gift of feeling valued too. It's like I remember in elementary school, when my kids were in elementary school, it was the same moms that signed up for every party. The same moms did everything, and they didn't give room for anyone else because they needed three moms or six moms per party. There were 25 kids in the class. And so the other, whatever, 19 moms couldn't get in. And it was the same ones. And they became resentful of those same ones. And that became cliquey. And and I couldn't do something one time. And somebody said, yeah, do you realize that by saying no, you allow somebody else the opportunity to say yes? There's somebody sitting there wanting to say yes. And it was like, wow, sometimes we're just hard on ourselves about saying no, because then that's a failure for ourselves. But when we say no, sometimes it opens the door for somebody else. So, I mean, it's good to delegate. It's not a sign of weakness. And it's good to honor your time, and what you
well,
can
and that's
do
what
with
I've
your time.
learned over time.
Yeah.
I mean, we all have our strengths, and I am not good at Canva and
Same.
and she texted me this morning. She goes, "You have a couple minutes to talk?" And she's a late night worker. I get up early. She works late, so oftentimes I got to check my email in the morning to see what she sent me. And she had sent me the slide deck. I go, give me a second to look at the slide deck. And I called her. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is beautiful. She goes, okay, good.
Yeah.
I was worried. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's tremendous. So, again, one of those coaches that I had, she told me, she goes, you need to hire a VA, find somebody that can help you, because we all should be working in our zone of geniuses, our strengths. And if we have the money and, or you can pay them differently or whatever. It doesn't have to be money. It can be paying them in other ways. But we've been together probably for, I don't know, 3.5 years, maybe. And she just has really, she gets me, she knows so many things, and she's been such a, help for me. So again, I'm all about the choices, and I've learned to delegate.
Yeah.
Again, learn my strengths, and again, I love that, like, you brought up boundaries, like, right? Didn't somebody say something about boundaries, or saying yes or saying no? I mean, it's really making sure that you're valuing what's most important to your team. It's your time, mental energy, and boundaries. Somebody said, boundaries help you teach other people how to treat you, or know how to, treat you. It's not just about, saying yes or saying no. Certainly, saying no is important, but also sometimes saying yes is, too, because if you're saying yes to things that truly matter to you and align with your values, that's important. Like you said, no doesn't always mean, that you're a failure, or maybe you're rejecting somebody else. It maybe just helps you protect your capacity, like, especially at this season, your capacity to give your best and say, you can say, hey, I really can't make it to the event. I have, whatever. You can just say, I can't make it to the event, but let's catch up soon. Let's catch up after the holidays. I mean, you can block out your non-negotiable time, or again, Geneva's got a beautiful, their holiday Christmas lighting stuff this weekend, and I want to go to the house walk. So I reached out to my friend at the beginning of the week. I said, hey, you want to go on Friday or Saturday? So that's planned for tomorrow. Thank God she has a car, because I don't have a car. She can pick me up and drive me to the house walk. But blocking out that time and being okay with taking a rest or saying no to somebody, again, can be important.
Which is why the holiday season starts in November. So we remember every year to say November. November. It's my favorite one. Say November.
Yeah. So, again, those are some of the tips, and we're getting close to the end of this lovely conversation here. And again, I think when we practice that gratitude, when we say no, when we do these things that we talked about, we can really live for today. We can feel good about the holidays. We can feel good about today and really enjoy the moments. But there's also, again, I think this is a time at the end of the year that we think about, like I said, we think about our goals, we think about the decisions we've made, think about our values. And again, those are all good to reflect on. And oftentimes we spend a little bit of time, and I encourage you to, is think about the future, like what's coming for the new year. And some exercises that I like to do at the end of the year or the beginning of the next is something that's called start, stop, and continue. So kind of as a reflect on the year, and going into the next one, I'll say, okay, what do I want to stop doing, that maybe didn't work? What do I want to start doing? And what do I want to continue? Like what's been working? So what do I want to continue on? I also one time attended an event with a gal that I was coaching with at the time, a different one that I mentioned before. And she had us come in and act like it was 5 years down the road. And we talked about, and we acted like that. Like, hey, what have you been up to? Oh, you know what? I've developed a nonprofit and, this, or my husband's been able to quit his job and he built his Reiki business. We moved to another town. I'm enjoying my grandkids. And it was a really cool, like we networked, we socialized for like an hour in that way. And it was it was just a cool exercise to think about, like take on that feeling and energy of like accomplishing the things that you wanted to accomplish. And you had to think before you got there, like, what do I want to do in 5 years? And so I
Don't you
think
think it would be so
certainly,
much fun to do with your family, like at Christmas time? Like, some people want to play a game or something, but don't you think it would be fun if we set a timer for 30 minutes and for the next 30 minutes we only talk about as if we lived 5 years from now? I think that would be really funny to do with my kids, or like what do they think? Like adult children. And then we are that my husband's gonna retire soon and he can see himself retired then or speak to his own self as a retired person. I think that's a really good idea, Moira. I love that. I never heard of that. I want to do that.
yeah, it was a really cool exercise because this one gal started talking. I was like, oh my gosh, that's incredible what you do. She was a medical doctor of some kind, and she talked about this retreat center that then you could come for a day or like a month-long stay. I mean, it was just like,
That's so cool.
it was really cool. So again, it's kind of that again, we want to make sure that we're doing things today so we can enjoy the moment, but there's always something coming. So why not think about the future, even if it's what you want to do next year or 5 years? But also, again, how are you going to feel about that? And I think that would be a cool thing to do with your family.
Yeah.
Many times, I don't know if you guys do it, but I'll pick a word for the next year, a word of the year. And if it's whatever,
Commitment or
yeah, commitment,
focus.
joy,
Those words.
balance, growth. I mean,
Sure.
I know a couple of years ago, it was focus at the beginning of a year ago, because I felt like I was doing all these things and I was really busy, but I wasn't really kind of accomplishing some of those goals that I wanted. And so I was like, I'm going to focus and I'm going to be intentional about where I spend my time, the events that I go to, what I'm doing. And then cancer called my name at the end of the year. And, and I was like, okay, now I'm really going to focus. So, but it was helpful for me. And and Pam knows as we talk about our goals together, I mean, I'm much more intentional now about what I'm getting involved with. And even this move out to Geneva, what I want to do, what intentional things. And I haven't thought about a word for next year, but I always like to do that. And sometimes, you can even do a vision board. I have a vision board over there that I did the beginning of last year with a group of gals in January. Those are also fun things to do that we can kind of pull out quotes or pictures or things that we value that we kind of want to put there on our vision to keep that in our eyes as we go through the next year. So those are some things that you could do with the future, looking into next year and going into our next holiday season or things like that. You guys have anything that you do in particular other than those things?
No, I don't make resolutions or anything. I don't at least at the end of the year, the beginning of the new year. But I do remind myself on a pretty regular basis things that I feel like I really want to do, or something that I'm interested in doing. I keep that kind of at the top of my thinking, and I remind myself about whatever it is for quite a bit to keep me on the right path.
Yeah. Well, and we're not
I have
getting,
one, somebody gave me a blessings jar, and it's a big glass jar, like a big pickle jar with a lid on top with a slot on it. And you can put in there, moments, notes about things that were fun in the year, and memories, or a receipt from a dinner that you went to. You can write on the receipt who went there,
Mhm.
or movie tickets, or everything's virtual, or digital now.
Mhm.
But I mean, some things, or a quick picture, or a bookmark, or a whatever, a napkin, or a business card, or something when you met somebody. And then at the end of the year, like on New Year's Eve, you open up the jar and you go through all those things, and you can relive a little bit of those fun memories. And I think that's a good idea. So I'm going to try that this year, this coming
Yep.
year, to remember things. Maybe it will
we
help
did
my
that.
memory as I
Yeah,
get
we
older.
did that for a couple of years, and it was
Mhm.
cool because I didn't realize that some of the kids had put things in there. I thought I was the one.
Mhm.
So when we opened it up and we read through it, it was like, oh, who put that in there? Oh, that was me,
Yeah.
that
So
kind of
those
thing.
are kind of
So,
surprises that come later, like fortune cookies, So it's
right,
kind of fun what's in there.
Mhm. Mhm.
right,
Yeah, that's a good
right.
idea.
Yeah. Um, so as we come to the end of the presentation, I want to thank you for being here and taking your time. And I want to continue to stay connected, obviously, with you gals, which I know I will be. But again, I just want to thank you for being here and supporting me through this. And there's always so much to share, and I always have more to share. This next year, I know will be an exciting year for all of us, and myself included. Even next weekend, I want to tell you that I'm going to be involved in a writing project, and now I got lots of time because I have a broken foot and no car.
And no car.
So I'll have plenty of time to write. But I'm going to do a writing project for somebody that I was introduced to that does these these kind of collaborative books where you can write a chapter. And it really resonated with me because the theme of it is called Rattled Awake. And she started doing these during the pandemic because she felt like a lot of people had kind of been rattled awake during this time. And that really resonated with me with all the things that have happened. And so I started to kind of put that together, and I'm excited to work next weekend on that because I'll be a published author by December 19th. So I'm super excited
Hooray.
about that. And I also have that journal that if you want to pick up a journal of mine, I do have that. I do plan on hosting some events like this in the future, as well as in person, like you've been to, Georgia. She was at my first in-home event here at my house in Geneva. So plan on doing that, and continuing to coach you and others on the your wellness business. So if you'd like to stay connected, you can click on the Google form. This should work if you click on this from your computer. Let's hope it does. Or you can
On that or the QR
or you
link to
can
Google.
yeah, or you can the QR code, they both go to a form just to thank you for this, to gather your email address and just like give a little bit of feedback and how you'd like to stay connected.
Okay.
So um that's that. And
All right.
Awesome.
that is well, I guess that's the last slide. So I again want to thank you for being here and supporting me. And I hope that again, these are some tips that'll help you again thrive through the holidays and thrive into the next year as we head there, but really enjoy this month with friends, with family, and whoever you choose to spend your time with.
I think that might be my word for the year. Thrive.
Oh,
Oh, that's a good
I like
one.
that.
See, that came from today.
Yeah.
Mhm.